Good morning, everyone. Today is the 8th day of Iyar, and we're going to learn, and we're going to dedicate the learning to Shmuel ben. Your father's name? Shmuel ben Nachum. Neshama Shavan Aliyah, Steve's father, whose yahrzeit is today. We're going to start with counting the Omer on top of page 138, the first line. Last night we counted 23. You ready? Page 138. Next page. Hayoim shloisha ve'esrim yoim shehem shloisha shavuos ushnei yamim la'omer. Today is 23 days, which is 3 weeks and 2 days of the Omer. Okay, Tanya, we're on page 111 in the Chayenu, and we're continuing in chapter 45 of Tanya. And today's lesson is as follows. Our ancestor Jacob, cried. His weeping, compassion, and embrace, love of Rachel is symbolic of our own process of arousing compassion over our soul's descent, subsequently giving rise to love of God. When we feel bad for our neshama being dragged through all the narishkeit, all of the mud that we pull it through, and we have compassion for it, this gives it the opportunity to rise higher and for us to love Hashem. Zeo Shamar, pull up a chair, baby. Pull up a chair over here. Steve, can you grab a quick picture? Zeo Shamar. What's the problem? Turn the blur off. Yeah, I know. Zeo Shamar Hakosov. Vayishak Yaakov l'Rachel v'Yisa es koiloi v'Yefk. Ki Rachel hi Knesset Yisrael makor kol haneshamas. So this is the meaning, the deeper meaning of what the pasuk is trying to tell us when it says, and Yaakov kissed Rachel and he lifted up his voice and wept. You can look it up in Bereshis, Genesis 29:11 to understand more of the context there. And here we compare Rachel to the Jewish people and the souls of all Israel. Rachel represents the supernal attribute of Malchus of Atzilus, the source of all Jewish souls. And Yaakov, Jacob, with his supernal attribute, the attribute of mercy, is the one who arouses great compassion for her, for Rachel, the source of all Jewish souls. He lifted up his voice upward to the higher mercies, to the source of the 13 attributes of mercy. And indeed they're called the Father of mercies and their source. So this then is the meaning that Yaakov lifted up, Jacob elevates his supernal attribute, the mercy of Atzilus, to the level of the mercies of the 13 divine attributes of mercy. And then the verse goes on to say, V'yefk, and he wept. In order to awaken and draw from there the boundless divine mercy and compassion upon all the souls and upon the entire community of Israel. To raise them up from this dark, deep place that we're in, the exile, the galus, and to unite them with the higher unity of the light of Hashem at the level of kisses. This very deep, intimate level with their source. Shehi isdabkus rucha berucha k'meshikasov yishakeni min shikais pihu, which is the attachment of spirit with spirit, as the pasuk says, let him kiss me with the kisses of his mouth. And shir hashirim. So the Knesset Yisrael, the community of Israel, begs of the Almighty that He unite them with this very close bond. In the case of kissing, there's not only an external union, but also a more spiritual connection of the breath, so that it's regarding this manner of union of the Jewish people with Hashem, which is brought about through Torah and mitzvahs. Dahainu, iskashus dibra adam edvar Hashem, zoi halacha b'chein b'machshava, which means the union of the word of man who studies Torah. When you say Torah, which is Hashem, you're connecting through this deep, passionate connection, the word of Hashem, namely halacha, which is God's speech. And this union resembles the kisses of the mouth. So too, through thinking Torah thoughts. Mortal thought is uniting with divine thought. When you think Torah, you're connecting to Hashem. And so too, when it comes to action, we unite with Hashem through observing actionable commandments. And in particular, the practice of giving charity and loving kindness. The chesed, the oira yemina. Chesed, kindness, is what we were mentioning yesterday. Chesed, the kindness, is the divine right arm for Hashem's kindness. Steve, can you grab a quick picture? Come, David, come over here. And this is, as it were, an actual embrace. So just as in physical terms, an embrace manifests one's love of the beloved, so too, when it comes to Hashem's kindness, embracing the Yid who performs acts of charity and loving kindness. As the pasuk says, his right arm, which is God's kindness, embraces me. Also from Shir Hashirim. While one's occupation in the Torah study by word of mouth and concentrated thoughts constitutes the actual level of quote unquote kisses. So the unity of Jew and Hashem accomplished through speech, of thought, of Torah is twofold. The external level of kisses is attained through words of Torah, while the internal level of kisses, spirit to spirit, is attained through concentration, through thought, and thinking about the Torah study that we learned. In this way, through arousal of deep compassion for his soul, which brings about the study of Torah and performance of mitzvahs, one is able to attain this greater level of Ava, the greatest love, which is his intense love of Hashem that is felt, it's palpable. The pasuk says of Jacob, who redeemed Avram. So in the context of man's spiritual service, Avram denotes man's love of Hashem, while Yaakov symbolizes the attribute of compassion. When Avram, quote unquote, the individual's love for Hashem is hidden, it has to be redeemed and revealed. And it is Jacob, Yaakov, the attribute of compassion that brings about this redemption. So you love Hashem, but you need compassion to arouse this love. So the arousal of profound compassion for one's soul enables his love of Hashem to come to the surface, as we've explained elsewhere. So the takeaway for today, this concludes chapter 45, that arousing compassion on your soul is helpful and important to bring about the love. And it's Jacob who represents compassion, and with tears in his eyes, he kisses Rachel, who represents the Jewish soul, thereby showering the divine soul with divine consciousness. So this creates a bond between the soul of a person, of a Jew, and God. The kiss also signifies that heavenly bond between the divine soul and the human spirit. That concludes chapter 45. Everyone have a wonderful day, and we'll see you tomorrow, Mitzvah Hashem.